I just got done reading Supernatural by Graham Hancock, so I thought I'd do a review of it. First of all, I've read, I think, just about most of the major books by Graham Hancock. I've read Fingerprints of the Gods, The Sign and the Seal, probably 2/3 of Underworld, and Heaven's Mirror, and The Mars Mystery, and then that one he did with Robert Bauval. I read some of that. And if you've been following Graham Hancock over the years, he has kind of been continuing the theme he started with Fingerprints of the Gods, and that was where his main thesis was that there was this prehistoric civilization that was worldwide, and leftovers like architectural themes, cultural themes, themes in agriculture, all kinds of things like this were offshoots of that parent civilization. And his thesis was that legends of the city of Atlantis, or continent or civilization of Atlantis, were also based upon this same prehistoric culture or whatever. And he's kind of been continuing that on, and he took a turn in a slightly different direction with Supernatural, in a way. This time he's approaching the paranormal and psychic research and things, and I think that's really cool, because I think personally, and it's a favorite topic of mine, and also I think the way that Graham Hancock reasons and approaches things would be terrific for this kind of thing. And so therefore I think this is, on that account, it's a great book, and it's great to hear him. Now he approaches it from the perspective of psychedelic drugs and drugs that produce hallucinations and stuff, and which at first I was kind of leery of that, because I don't do drugs and stuff like that, because I don't like messing up my brain, but I was like, okay, whatever. And I can see his point, however, and I do basically agree with his take on it, that these drugs can induce a state that is similar to trance states that are more conventional for mediumship and things like that. The only drawback being, when the drug wears off, you lose the trance, and so it's not very reliable, and you get different results every time, and it's hard to get the dosage right and all this stuff, and all those problems that are normally associated with drugs and drug use. So, but he touches on some interesting themes, and his basic thesis with this book is that hallucinations in general are not hallucinations. What these drugs are doing, he thinks, is changing the vibration or wavelength of the brain or whatever, so it kind of receives a different level of information, like from a different vibration or a different dimension or something. And that's why he thinks people see the same types of things, and if you look into the types of phenomena, they really start to make you think that you are interacting with another dimension. Now, if you also, like I am, are into other realms of psychic research and phenomena like that, for instance, I'm into the deep trance psychics like Edgar Cayce and Ross Peterson and Douglas Cottrell and Paul Solomon. And with those guys, you actually touch upon a lot of the same topics that these people end up touching upon when they get on their drug trips, and you start to recognize that they're looking at the same thing, like the Akashic Record and things like that. And so, I don't know, it's really compelling. Now, furthermore, he puts this together with accounts of UFO stories, alien abduction, and also with fairy tales from the distant past. And he starts putting all these together, and in classic Graham Hancock fashion, he takes these disparate elements and tries to show you that there's actually a common theme, and that they're actually really about the same thing. So in that regard, it's really like his other works, except instead of talking about ancient civilizations, now he's talking about this other dimension that we're tapping into, and his claim is that it's the same other dimension, probably the same beings that we're interacting with, different types of them, but the same types over and over again, and things like that. And he did as usual, he did just a fantastic job as far as his homework. He looked up all the, the works of research behind all these three areas, with the drugs, the UFO stuff, and the fairy tale stuff, and even interviews some of the guys that were the key researchers and that stuff, and really does a good job of bringing it together, making his point, and you really come away from it, as usual, in Graham Hancock fashion. You get convinced of his thesis about a quarter of the way into the book, and then the rest of the 3/4 of the book, he just keeps beating the dead horse. So, it's a Graham Hancock book. What do you expect? But he definitely makes his point, I think, and I think it's a good one. That's not to say that is all that UFO abductions are, or that's all that fairy tales are, or that's all that drug trips are, but I think it's safe to say that he's discovered some common themes and some common aspects, and many abduction stories and things, and many accounts of fairy tales and things that deal with transdimensional phenomena and delays in time and missing time and things like that, which are common to all three. He really makes a good case, and I think it's, at the very least, it's a fascinating read, like all of his stuff. And, you come away from it thinking, yeah, maybe he's really got something there. Now, personally, one thing I think that I missed, that he didn't really get into, well, I guess now that I've read some more, a couple of things, are normal, more conventional, historically conventional paranormal research. I mean, because the Society for Psychical Research and the Psychical Research Society and things, and the American branch of the Society for Psychical Research, over the last 100 years, they have done just an unbelievable amount of gathering data, sifting through it, trying to find the 5 or 10% of the accounts that really seem like there's something to them, seeing if they can get multiple accounts, back things up, control mediums, test them in different environments, and they've just got a tremendous amount of data there that deal with psychic paranormal phenomena that seems really compelling. And also, of course, these modern prophets or trance mediums, deep trance mediums, whatever you want to call them, like Edgar Cayce, and now, of course, Douglas Cottrell, and the others, and Paul Solomon, he doesn't touch upon them at all, and it seems like that would have been a great tie-in, but I don't know, maybe he just wanted to stay away from that stuff. I know he's familiar with Cayce and the ARE, because he touched on them in his Fingerprints of the Gods book, and he even talked about searching the Cayce readings on CD-ROM and stuff, but maybe he just didn't think it was related or something. So anyway, I think the book it's a great read. As far as a literary work, I think it falls completely flat on its face at the end. He because what he does is he talks about he starts with a drug trip, because he tries the drugs himself 3 or 4 times. So he starts with one of those, tells you what happened, and has another couple of them in the beginning. And then you go on the whole book talking about other stuff. And at the very end, he talks about his last trials with drugs, and they basically go nowhere. And the book ends when he takes this higher dose of this drug that didn't work, or the mushrooms that didn't work, and then there's just dot, and the book is over, and you don't even find out what happened. And then he ends the thing with an interview with one of these researchers into the drug use and stuff. So I don't know. I think as far as the style of the novel and the literary form, I think it kind of falls flat on its face. But it's a good classic Graham Hancock work. There's a lot of stuff to it, and it's not like it's truncated or anything. I mean, it's a good 400 pages long. I guess for Graham Hancock, that's half a book. But still, I think it's a pretty good read, and it's different, something different for Graham Hancock readers, and pretty interesting stuff. So if you're at all into Graham Hancock, paranormal phenomena, drug use, UFOs, fairy tales, get it, check it out. Really interesting read.